Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, you are doing well. My name is Porfirio Coronado, and I am the Homeowner Services Assistant Manager. Thank you so much for taking the time today to join us in this beautiful evening to get to learn about identity theft prevention. Today we have Aretha Higgins, and then we also had another counselor that was going to jump in and to do this session, but he had a last minute family or stuff that has to do with his house. So he had to take the night off. So I'm going to, jump in and do the presentation on his behalf as well. His name is Christian Marquez. So today's topic is going to be on identity theft prevention. Okay, how to safeguard your personal information. This presentation was created by Co-America Bank. A lot of the information it relates to Co-America. In specific to different programs that they offer with identity theft prevention. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully you find this information very helpful in the future or right now, because I just asked, is anyone being a part of identity theft? Someone said that they had been part of identity theft over 20 years, I believe. And then someone also said that they had taken out their a phone or on their name, so that's a lot of bit of part of identity theft. So we're gonna go jump right in. Aretha, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good this evening. I'm happy to see, so many people joined us this evening. We know it's been a long day. People are tired. So we appreciate you all, taking the time out to come and listen to the information that we have to share with you all this evening. And I know a lot of people think identity theft, is not that important. This is not any kind of subject. I know some of you probably say, well, this is not a subject that I want to come and learn about, but it's so very important because it happens so much. There are so many people out there that are just taking advantage of good people, hardworking people. And this is their hustle every day to steal your identity. So we want to, just kind of give you some tips so this doesn't happen to you. And if it does happen to you, some steps that you need to take. So again, thank you all for joining and feel free to take notes. Feel free to jot some questions in the chat. We have time. Of course, we're going to, try to answer your questions. So we'll go ahead and get started with the presentation. I will take my video off because I want you all to pay attention to the presentation, okay? But I'll be back, all righty? So again, thank you all for joining. So again, we're talking about identity theft prevention and safeguarding your personal information. So let's just take a moment to talk about, very common for our situation, which is card compromise. And I know so many of us have had that happen to us. I've had that happen to me. If you have unauthorized transactions on your debit or credit card, for example, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've been a victim of identity theft. The fraudster may only have your card number, but they don't know anything else about you. So that's an example of an unauthorized transaction, not necessarily identity theft. Okay. So, but card compromise is still a concern. There's billions of dollars being made off of card compromise. The two most common forms of compromise are skimming and data compromise. Skimming is just like at the gas station. You use your credit card or debit card to pay for gas at the pump, and somebody will put this little magnet in there to steal all your information on that card, and then they go out and they run up your credit card. That's skimming. That has happened to me actually on a few occasions, and I've had to, thank God we have all this technology now, and you can just call up the bank, or a lot of times they'll alert you. I get those text message notifications, and that's how I kind of knew, because they knew that it was an area that I really don't frequent. They know where I get gas and all that kind of stuff. So they notified me and said, hey, did you make these purchases? And I would tell them, look, and I'm seeing all these charges, and I'm like, no, that's not me. Stop it immediately. So thank God for that kind of technology. And I know that a lot of you probably have those alerts too. So then those are good. Okay. So again, that's one of them. And then just data compromise with your cards, just collecting all your information off the skimming. So those are things to be aware of too. All right. Identity fraud hits a new victim every 2 seconds. Think about that, y'all. Every 2 seconds. The number of identity fraud victims jumped to 13.1 million in 2015. That was 6 years ago. So can you imagine what it's like now? You know, identity fraud, of course, is not new, but it's happening more often. The online lives that we all lead may be contributing to the availability of our personal information to crafty thieves. And of course, due to the pandemic, a lot of us, we do a lot more shopping and things like that online. I know that I do, so I'm sure that you all do too. So let's start with the basics of identity theft, as well as provide you with tips to help protect your information from being stolen. Identity theft is not going away. They're just thinking of more, smarter and better ways. The criminals, they're thinking of smarter and better ways to be able to steal it. In fact, it topped the Federal Trade Commission's national ranking of consumer complaints for the 15th consecutive year in 2014. Most fraud, especially financial, begins with a fraudster getting a hold of your personal identifying information. Once your personal information falls into the wrong hands, a fraudster can begin to impersonate you to acquire goods, services, and even additional credit without you even being alerted to it. So we just want you all to be aware of the common ways fraudsters are stealing your identity, what to do to prevent it, and as importantly as what to do to prevent it, what to do if you are a victim, okay? Fools. So the meaning, how much is your personal information worth? Fools, the meaning of that is just a single package of your information. It's going to include everything: your name, your address, social security number, birth date, driver's license number, your financial background, level of online activity, all your Twitter followers. On average, a criminal can purchase this information from another criminal on the black market for between $12 and $16. Nope, that's not a typo. The going rate for all your personal information and the implied ability to completely destroy your life is less than the cost of going out to dinner. Personal identifying information, better known as PII, includes all that information: your social security number, your name, your address, your date of birth, your driver's license number, and any account number. Is this surprising to anybody? Is this something you already knew about? I'm just curious. So the best offense, of course, is a good defense. When it comes to fighting fraud, the best thing to do is just try to hit it head on. You want to be aware of all these tips. I have this little alert that comes on my phone. I get these different notifications, and it tells me about, the FBI does all this research and stuff, and they're trying to, combat some of this and keep it from being so expensive to consumers. Of course, it's hard because, like I said, the criminals are just getting smarter and smarter. So, but they're trying to do their best to help us, and so they send me tips on different things that I can do to keep from being a victim of fraud. And again, I'm sure a lot of this is going to be in the presentation today. But like I said, unfortunately, the fraudsters are changing their tactics all of the time, and they are very persistent. They're going to prey on those that are unaware of the fraud schemes and those that do not take steps to protect themselves. So that's why you all are here this evening, to get the information to be able to protect yourself. We gathered some information on fraud to raise your awareness, and also how you can best, go about protecting yourself and your family. So let's discuss identity theft. What is it, and where does it happen? What the fraudsters can do with it, and just some tips to protect yourself. So what it is and where it happens. It happens internet, of course. We're on the internet every day, a majority of the day, a majority of the evening. It happens in the mail, via the phone. You get these calls from unknown people. In your email, you have these phishing emails. And it happens even in your own home. Identity theft is a type of fraud committed or attempted using the personal identifying information of another person without the authority of that person to establish a credit deposit or other financial account in the owner's name. And again, it can happen in all those places that we just mentioned. That's quite a few places. Other ways they can get your information, again, we're talking about the skimming devices, gas stations, ATMs, restaurants, stores, or looking over your shoulder, you know, at the ATM. How many of you all check when you're at an ATM or something to see if anybody else is behind you? You know, type it in chat if you do that, to make sure no one is around you and can get your information. Social engineering, which is when a fraudster tricks you into divulging information. For example, pretend to be a relative or police officer. How many of you have got those police officer calls saying they're gonna arrest you? That happened to my sister. They actually called her at work and told her they was gonna arrest her and they wanted her to send them some money. I was like, these people, and she, you know, she told them, come get me, which is probably what I would have told them too. You know what, you so bad, come get me. The more personal information a fraudster has about you, the more your identity is at risk. So you got to be careful of, you know, your personal information, where you're putting it and things like that, because, you know, like, again, these people are very smart. This is how they make their living, off of you and your hard work. So you have to be very mindful of, you know, all the little tricks and things like that. Credit card and debit card fraud. Stealing the physical card. If your card is stolen, be sure to report it to your card company immediately. Skimming. A fraudster installs a reading device on a card swiping terminal. This device allows a thief to capture a customer's card information, including the PIN number, with each card swipe. So, card not present. Criminals obtain your card information without the actual card and then use it for purchases that don't require the physical card. This happened to me. I was actually in Arkansas, and the person was actually in Houston, Texas at the time, and they were using my card. And again, my bank, they sent me an alert. I saw it like maybe a couple of hours later, so I was nervous. But of course, like I said, most banks, a good bank, they're not going to charge you. You know, they're going to do their little investigation, but they're not going to make you responsible for those transactions if they, you know, can prove that it was not you. Data compromise, theft of a card information, usually because of data breach on the part of a merchant or a merchant third-party processor, computer theft, stolen storage tapes, or company insiders. This is happening now, even with the big name stores. Target had a big breach a few years back, you know, and then there was a big lawsuit behind it, a class action lawsuit. Of course, people didn't get a whole lot of money back from it because it was millions and millions of people who this affected. But this can even happen with, you know, trusted merchants. So to be online shopping with someone that you don't normally shop with, you know, that can be kind of tricky. It can be dangerous. You know, it's best to stick with what you know, but sticking with what you know, a lot of times still, you know, you get a breach. So again, you just have to be kind of smart about, you know, what you're doing online. For merchants and financial institutions, the switch to EMV means adding new in-store technology and internal processing systems and complying with new liability rules. For consumers, it means activating new cards and learning new payment processes. It's that small metallic square you'll see on new cards, okay? That's a computer chip, and is what sets apart the new generation of cards. So most cards that you have now, debit cards, credit cards, they have that computer chip. The magnetic stripes, the white stripe on the back of the card on traditional credit and debit cards, they contain unchanging data. Whoever accesses the data gains the sensitive card and cardholder information necessary to make purchases. That makes traditional cards prime targets for counterfeiters who convert stolen card data to cash. Wow. This stuff is just kind of scary, you all, really. I mean, you got to try to just practice being safe. So what they can do with it: open a new account in your name, get government identification. They can get medical care and insurance benefits, all of this in your name, charging it to you. They can obtain employment. They can file income taxes, steal your refund. And again, just turn your whole life upside down in a matter of minutes. Tax ID theft is the most commonly reported type. Tax or wage-related ID theft is the most commonly reported type of ID theft, accounting for 46% of reported incidents. Credit card fraud follows at 16%. Identity theft, again, can damage your finances, your credit rating, your reputation, and it just can complicate so many parts of your life. It's just very tragic. Okay, so we're going to start and let Porfirio pick up with tips that are going to protect your personal information. I'm going to turn it on over to you, Porfirio.
Thank you so much, Aretha. So let's go ahead and continue. So what are tips to protect your personal information? Okay, now there are many ways that you can protect yourself. Okay, now one thing that you want to do is shred documents that contain your personal information. Okay, this includes your pre-approvals, bank statements, receipts. Okay, so those pre-approvals that you received on the mail saying like, hey, you've been pre-approved for a loan of $15,000, so $1,500. You know, a lot of times what they do is that those creditors are actually already have your information. So anyone can actually pick up that pre-approval and get that card under your name. Okay, so you want to be careful with that, of you just throwing those pre-approvals away in the trash, because anyone can just pick it up and get that card under your name. So that's one way. Now, what happens? Now, Comerica, they actually are doing something good for the community. They actually host a shredding day for the community, where you basically take all your sensitive documents over to a Comerica facility, and they will shred it for you. Okay. Now, oftentimes there are also with the city of Dallas, in your water bill, a lot of times you will see one of those little inserts in that water bill that says if they're going to be doing something like that too for the community. And a lot of times they're like at different parts of the community, like at banks or just like neighborhood stores, where they will actually bring one of those big shredded trucks, and you just basically drop off your bag full of sensitive information, and they will shred it in there right there in your eyes. Okay, so that's something that you can look into. Okay, now retrieve your mail daily and install a mailbox with the lock. Okay, because a lot of times you don't realize, but if you just leave your mail there, there's often people that walk around during like at night, during the day, and they could just check into that mail and get anything out of it. Okay, so make sure that you get a mailbox with a lock on it. Don't leave open access to your checkbooks, especially if you have roommates or you have someone that is working in your house, you know, someone that you don't know. Okay. Because that means they are going to have access to your bank information. Okay, I believe Alyssa was saying that her aunt got something under her name when she was 13 years old. So that's similar to a roommate. You know, she had her social security number, she had her phone number, I'm assuming full name and everything. So, you know, so just be careful with that. Don't keep your social security card or PIN numbers on your wallet. That is the #1 mistake that people do. They carry their social security cards. Okay, don't carry your social security card or your PINs. Like if you have your Chase card or your Comerica card or your Wells Fargo card, and you have like a little paper full that says the PIN for Comerica is this, the PIN for Chase is this. That is the worst thing that you could do. Okay, so make sure that you don't keep anything like that on your wallet. And Alyssa said, no, that she got it from her taxes. from the taxes. So that is even more, astonishing that she was able to do that. Hopefully you got that situated. Never offer your personal information, especially if you didn't initiate your conversation. Okay, don't use your phone numbers that are left in voicemails. Instead, look up the company's contact information online and use that to call them back. That's what Aretha was saying, that it's often a lot of times fraudulents will actually call you and tell you that they're like the Social Security Administration, that they're the police department, that they're the IRS, that we need this, right? Just know that most of the time, those agencies will not contact you by phone. A lot of times, those agencies are going to contact you via writing, so via by mail. So you don't give your personal information. So if someone calls you saying like, "Hey, we're the Social Security Administration. We would like to settle, talk to you about your benefits or something that you might qualify for," don't give it away. Okay. I've had that happen to me. Me being the person I am, I actually picked up the call and I was just trying to see how far they go with other people, right? So a lot of times they ask for like your Social Security number, and I'm like, okay, but you're the one calling me, so why would I give you my Social Security number if you calling me saying that you're the Social Security Administration, right? So shouldn't you have it? And they were like, well, yes, sir, we would like to verify. Okay, well, you tell me what you have and I'll tell you if it's right. No, you need to tell us first. When you tell me first, and they just hanged up, right? Because they get upset of people that are actually, know what they're doing. So just be mindful of that. Don't give your personal information to anyone like that. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Aretha. Now, how to protect your information. Okay, now, cyber criminals use the internet to defraud consumers in a variety of clever ways. Okay, understanding what potentially risk actions you engage will give you an added layer of security. Okay, so here is a few must-dos that you might be taking consideration. Okay, so first of all, you want to have an antivirus software and for your computer and ensure that it's up to date. Okay, note any changes in the performance of your computer. Okay, if it's going slow, it might have a sign of malware. Okay, of a or virus. So once it has a virus, a lot of things can happen. They can hack into your computer and get all that sensitive information from there. Okay, don't open attachments or click-ins from people or businesses that you were not expecting. Okay, when shopping online, don't click advertisements from social media sites or tweets or posts. A lot of times those are they make it seem like it's the real company. For example, they make it seem like it's Macy's, but it's actually not Macy's. If you pay very close attention, their logo, it's a little bit different. Okay, so don't click on those advertisements. If you see something that you like because it was advertised on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere, just go to the actual website. Okay, create strong and complicated passwords that include characters, punctuation, and a mix of numbers and letters. Okay, that is going to save your life. Don't always create the same password. I know that that I am the same way. I always, most of the time, I always have the same password for everything because I'm one of those persons that forgets the passwords. Okay, but nowadays you can actually, store your passwords in one secure place. There's apps for that. Okay, so just use strong passwords and monitor and reconcile your credit report and just your bank statements. And if you see anything that is unauthorized activity, make sure that you act on it immediately. Okay. Now, don't let anyone else to also that calls you to remote into your computer. Like, hey, we're with AT&T and we would like to check to see if your internet is working up to speed. and we would like to remote into your computer. Don't allow that, okay? Unless you're expecting that you call AT&T customer service and that's what they're doing, because you're expecting them, then yes. But if there's someone just calls you out of the blue just because they're saying that they're with AT&T or with Spectrum or anything like that, and they just want to have access to your computer to see if it's working up to speed, at that time, it is the done deal. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Dorita. All right, tips to protect against fraud. So as soon as you get a credit card, I know that most of us don't do this, and I'm saying I say most of us because I don't do it either. We'd never sign the cards, right? And that is something that actual businesses are not, also don't pay attention to, and they should be paying attention to. Whenever you pay with a debit card or a credit card, they should be checking that your signature is behind that card. But most of them don't ask for that. They just want you to swipe, or insert. But you should sign your cards as they arrive and shred the old ones. Carry your card separately from your wallet in a zipper compartment, a business card holder, or any other small pouch. Okay, so just carry them in separate compartments. Keep a record of account numbers, their expiration dates, phone numbers, and addresses of each company in a secure place, such as maybe like a filing cabinet. If your card gets stolen, you will now have a way to report that information to the appropriate company. Okay, only give your credit card number or sensitive information on calls that you initiate. Okay, no, never give it to someone that calls you. Okay, some banks provide virtual on-time use card numbers, one-time use card numbers. So a lot of times, they will say like, okay, what is the PIN number? And they'll be able to give it to you. So only, like I said, only initiate those or only pay with your credit card or debit card if you initiate the call, not if someone calls you. Other ways to prevent is lock your social security number. Okay, monitor your credit regularly. Okay, you can, a lot of times people use Credit Karma, annualcreditreport.com, or the credit cards sites. So for example, if you have a Comerica card, if you have a Chase card, Capital One, anything like that, they have their own sites where you can monitor, your transactions. Okay, and as you know, because of COVID, annualcreditreport.com, you're able to get a credit report every week for free, and that is the link for you to get it. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Rita. All right, so how do we report suspected fraud? Okay, if you suspect that you're a victim of identity theft, it is important to act as quickly as possible to minimize the damage that your finances and your credit standing occurs. Notify your creditor. So that is, if you were a victim of fraud with your credit card, notify that creditor, okay? Or financial institute of any identified unauthorized transactions on your account and ask to file a claim, okay? Create an identity theft report by filing a complaint with the FTC, okay? And I'm going to put in a website in there and a number so that you can have it for your records. In the case that this error happens to you, you have to create a complaint with the FTC, because that complaint, once you file a police report, the police report is going to ask for the FTC affidavit, which is the complaint that you created by calling the FTC complaints assistant.gov or the 877.ID theft. The police department is going to ask for that. Okay, so make sure you file that first, then go to your police department and ask for a copy of the police report once you file that. And the FTC is the Federal Trade Commission. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Dorita. Also, after that, you will contact your Social Security Administration in your Social Security card, if your Social Security card was stolen, or if you would like to request a replacement new card, okay? You can contact the Social Security card replacement at that number, which is 1-800-772-1213, or visit the socialsecurity.gov website. Flag your credit reports by contacting one of the three nationwide credit reporting companies, such as Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion. You have their contact information on your screen, so you can contact them and file, a complaint with them too, or a report. Next slide, Arita. So there are numerous ways that bank services can help you monitor your accounts and make it harder for someone to steal your identity, okay? So one of them is monitor and protect your credit information. Use and identify theft protection services. You can monitor your credit history, get alerts, ensure that you're safe against identity theft if it does happen. So that's what Aurita was mentioning earlier. A lot of times if you are shopping in areas that you normally never shop, this type of services that banks offer would be alerting you. It's like, hey, did you just do this transaction? And then you can just say yes or no. And if you say no, then the card is basically locked, okay? So that's actually good. If you don't have it, ask your bank if that's something that they're able to offer. It's called identity theft protection. You don't always have to pay for it. There are free resources to monitor your credit, okay? Like again, we talked about Credit Karma and annual credit report. So you can, that is free, okay? Now, Credit Karma, it's a good way for you to look at what you have on your credit. It's not the best way to go about your credit score, okay? They use a different credit scoring reporting system, which is not your actual credit score or your FICO score in there. Annual credit report, that is actually more accurate, okay? So if I was to choose between Credit Karma and annual credit report, especially right now that is free every week, I will go with annual credit report. Now, with Credit Karma, you can always get it instantly, after annual credit report stops the services, because right now, because of COVID, like I said, you have one every week, you're able to get one. Before, it was like once a year, or yes, it was once a year that you were able to get a credit report. And then if you were requesting more than that, I believe they had a small fee for it. So with Credit Karma, obviously they never had a fee. Also, be careful with Credit Karma. A lot of times they have little ads that take you to different places. So that's what they talked about. Like, that's what I was mentioning about, like clicking into different websites. So just be careful there. To make sure that all your transactions were authorized by you, monitor your accounts. Set up account alerts to for deposits, withdrawals. I do that to the penny. If I'm spending a penny, I will get an alert. If I'm withdrawing a penny, which I don't think you can, but I have a notification. Use your bank to view your accounts transactions daily and transfer funds between accounts, okay, to avoid mailed in or paper checks. Okay, you don't want your paper check to be from one hand to another. Okay, so you want to do a lot of that electronically, especially from one bank to another bank. I have a feeling that a lot of you all don't pay your bills by sending a money order or a cashier's check or like an actual check. But if you do, we suggest for you to, maybe reconsider in doing electronic payments, where you actually go to your bank, and in their website, they have paid bills. So you're in there, you're able to pay the bills. and that is actually more secure. Like, again, you don't want to have your check going from one hand to another, because that your check actually has your account number and routing number. So that's all they need to be able to get stuff from your bank account. Next slide. Now, the best offense is the good defense. Okay, if you do these three things, you will be more aware of something if is happening and be able to react quickly. First, you want to stay informed. Okay, Accor America has what they call the fraud center, where you actually talk about all these situations that we just discussed. Okay, and then also they have something that's called Comerica refers to how fraudsters stealing your identity handout. So there's they have that in their sites that you can pick it up. Monitor your accounts and banking activities. Okay, reconcile. Like, okay, was I there last week or was I not there? And then immediately report unauthorized transactions. Okay, so again, the best offense is a good defense. Next slide. Oh, okay. So, any questions, comments, concerns? What do you have? Tell us. How do you feel about identity theft?
Something else that I wanted to mention, Porfirio, that they didn't mention, the cash apps, the Zelle, all those things, that's something new. And I'm not even gonna lie, I get, I know that's a new millennial thing. I'm old school. I get nervous sometimes about that because stuff happens. And I've had, one time I was sending something through Cash App and all of a sudden they started asking me for like my social security number. No, actually what it was, I was sending my husband some money through Cash App and they started asking him for like his date of birth, social security number. And he backed out. He was like, I'm not giving all this information. It was new. But to me, if they're gonna ask for that kind of information, they should at least alert you, not just do it. And I think it might've been because it was a large amount, but still, let me know that you're gonna do that because that was unfamiliar territory. You asking me for all this personal information. All of a sudden, right. I'm saying to myself, well, you all have that already.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, and so for that, you have to be very careful with those cash apps, Zelle. Only send money to people that you know. And it's not very wise to use that for like your bank account because that's how they get you big time when you're using a debit card or a credit card or something through them.
Now, a quick note on that. If you do use like Cash App, Zelle, or any other online payment system like that, what I suggest is for on Aretha's case, is that if that company is asking for that information, what I would have done is just like go into the Cash App website and to see if they actually have like reports or any news on items that they might now be asking for, right? Because I know that a lot of times they update their policies where they ask for new information that they didn't ask at the beginning. But if it's not on their website, it might not be serious, okay? Now, also, for those that are thinking about purchasing a house, right, which I think most of you are, if you're in the Habitat program, I'm assuming that you're thinking about purchasing a house in the future, or if now you're already in the process. If you use those applications, make sure that you always write something on the memo. Okay. For example, on Zelle, if you sell $500 to Aretha, make sure you said $500 for dinner at Fogo de Chão or something. $20 for mowing your lawn. Whatever. Make sure you always write something on the memo. That is one way that you're going to be able to reconcile. Okay. Now there are, and that's actually what companies like Comerica, Capital One, Chase, they actually have a fraud team that works in the background where they're actually monitoring all those Cash App transactions, Zelle transactions, you know, and that's how a lot of times they are able to identify if someone is like doing money laundering, if they are you know, illegal money from drugs, you know, prostitution, stuff like that. They're able to catch that based on the transactions with Zelle or Cash App. So again, always write something on the memo. Any other thing? No questions? No.
I don't see any in the chat, Porfirio.
Okay, did we make them go to sleep, or it was very well informed that they don't have no questions?
I think it was probably pretty self-explanatory, and then they probably, you know, it's a lot of stuff that they
Think about
I'm
and
sure we're already aware of, and we just kind of toned in on it a little more for them. So
right.
yeah, I think it was some good information that was shared, because some of it was new to me, and I just, you know, what I want you all to know is just, you got to be careful these days. Like I said, people are getting rich off off of our hard work. There are people that just sit at home and they do this for a living, just looking to steal your information. So just be mindful when you're shopping. The holidays are coming up and things, and I know a lot of us will probably doing a lot of online shopping. So just be careful when you're out there. Don't, you know, protect your information, shred your information. Be mindful of who you're giving your information to, things of that nature.
So Ms. Manfrey, she's asking what was the process for reporting fraud again. So the process for reporting fraud, you have to create a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission, which is the FTC. I'm going to drop in the link again in the chat. You create a complaint with them first. After that, you would then take that complaint, which is the FTC affidavit, to your local police department. Once you get to the police department, let them know that you are a victim of identity theft. They will send you to a little cubicle where you just basically fill out your information. And after that, then you contact your creditors, your Social Security Administration, you know, and let them know that you're a victim of identity theft. And that's the first thing that they're going to ask you. Do you have a police report on that? Yeah, so Alan is asking, how long does it take for someone for a credit report or credit something on their credit to be popped on their credit report? It usually takes about 30 to 90 days. Okay, so either between a month to 3 months while it's being reported into the credits. Okay, now if someone took out a something under your name, it would appear first under your inquiries. Okay, so make sure that you always pay attention to your inquiries. Okay, in your inquiries, that is immediately. As soon as someone inquires credit under your name, under your Social Security number, then it would appear there first, right? Always check that, because if you go in there and it says that you went to apply to credit for Target, and you also went to apply for credit at Ford, and then also to Chrysler, GMC, you know, and you're like, wait a minute, I have not gone to Target. I have not been to car shopping either, you know. So then that is a potential that you had been a victim of identity theft. So you need to act immediately on that. Okay, so on the report, it will actually show us an actual transaction between 30 to 90 days, but it will appear immediately on your inquiries. Okay, so check that first.
Now, Credit Karma, they are really good for that. I can vouch for that. They are really good about, you know, anytime someone is looking at your credit report, any kind of inquiries. So if you all don't have Credit Karma, you know, like I said, for anything, have them for that, because they do alert you.
It's good. Anything else? Any other question? Well, it was a pleasure of being here with you all today this evening. Our next webinar is in about 2 weeks. The next webinar is going to be based on how to compare loan pre-qualifications. Okay, so if you're in the process of buying a house or thinking about buying a house, you know, what we are pride ourselves is that we get you mortgage ready. You know, we work with you to become mortgage ready, and then we give you the option to either shop with Dallas Area Habitat or shop in the open market. If you shop in the open market, you know, we're going to ask you to contact at least 3 lenders, right? Once you contact those 3 lenders, you're going to receive a pre-qualification, right? The pre-qualifications, they have a lot of information. A lot of times it's information that we have not seen before. So it's kind of overwhelming. So that webinar is going to teach us on how to look at that pre-qualification and compare what is the best loan option for myself, okay, or for you. Okay, so please, I believe it's already online, so you can go back in there and register for our next webinar.
Yes, that should be a good one. So like I said, you need to know that information. So be sure to join us. We look forward to seeing you all.